cage. And for the lightweights and the light heavyweights, the entire season comes down to this, the playoffs. A true win or go home scenario in the pursuit of a belt and $1 million. I get it. Playoffs, that's not a word that's typically associated with the sport of mixed martial arts, but in the PFL, we do things just a little bit differently. Let me explain for you. Here's how the PFL format works. 10 fighters in each weight class. We have 6 different divisions. Fighters get 2 regular season bouts to earn points. You get 3 points for a win, bonus points for finishes. The top 4 fighters in each division will make the playoffs. That's where we're at now. And $1 million, a beautiful gold belt, and a fancy giant check goes to the champion in each division. Here's our lightweight playoff bracket. Tomorrow night, two of these men will earn a ticket to the championships. The 1 seed, Anthony Pettis, and the 4 seed, Stevie Ray, are squaring off in a rematch of a fight that happened only a few weeks ago. In the 2-3 matchup, it's Olivia, Alba, Messier, and Alexander Martinez, 2 guys who've actually spent some time training together in Canada. A lot of intrigue at the 155-pound weight class. Here's how it works for the 205ers. Robert Wilkinson, 2 finishes. Number 1 seed, Delon Monte, with a big upset, earned his number 4 spot. He'll take on Wilkinson. And Amari Akhmadov and Josh Silvera square off in the 2 versus 5. I'll explain to you why the 5 gets there in just a second. Here's the odds in our PFL semifinals. Anthony Pettis and Stevie Ray, it's a pick'em. Amari Akhmadov finds himself an underdog to the upstart Josh Silvera. OAM, Olivia, Alba, Messier, is a favorite over Alexander Martinez. And Robert Wilkinson, the Aussie out of Hobart, Tasmania, is the biggest favorite on our semifinal card. Sean O'Connell, as I said, joined by the guru himself, Mr. Kenny Florian, and the legendary Randy Couture, all very happy to be here, of course, for playoff action. And let's start with Anthony Shotonpetis. Look, it's always showtime with him, but now it's win or go home in his second pursuit of a $1 million championship.
Yeah, you know, he came up to us last season at the finals. He said, man, I completely misinterpreted this format and how challenging this format is. He says it's the toughest thing in mixed martial arts. He's figured that out this season. He's front-loaded his camps and came out in his first fight of the regular season, and he looked fantastic. He looked to be the Anthony Pettis we're used to seeing all the time. That topside submission, very, very, very impressive.
He looked great in his first bout. He also looked great in the early goings of his second bout against Stevie Ray, who's his opponent tomorrow night. But Stevie Ray had other designs when he took Anthony Pettis' best, comes back for the win. Can he do it again?
Yeah, that's right. I don't think there were a lot of lightweights out there that wanted to fight Anthony Pettis after his first fight here this season. Stevie Ray wasn't one of those guys. He wanted the challenge against Anthony Pettis, and he needed to go out there and get a finish against Pettis. It didn't start out well for him. It looked like the Anthony Pettis of old, but it was this submission right there, a submission I have never seen in professional mixed martial arts competition that got him the win. Just unbelievable stuff there from the Scotsman.
If even Kenny Florian hasn't seen the submission, you know that it's pretty rare, because all he does is talk about jiu-jitsu. He won't stop. Let's talk about the other lightweight semifinal. Look, it's been up and down for both Stevie Ray and for Anthony Pettis. For OAM, though, undefeated inside the PFL Smart Cage.
Yeah, Olivier Aubin-Mercier is a very intelligent fighter. He's got a lot of unique skills, and he can fight you and beat you in a lot of ways. That's why he's undefeated here in the PFL. And he went about doing it this season, defeating 2 former champions and friends, Nathan Schultz and Haush Manfio. So this is a very intelligent fighter. He can strike you from the outside. He can take you down. He can control you. He can submit you. He's riding high on confidence right now, no question.
All right, so he's confident, he's intelligent, he's well-rounded, and he's going to have to be if he wants to advance to a championship past his opponent. Alexander Martinez is all of that, and he's a little bit taller, and he's a little bit younger. Does he have what it takes to pull off the upset?
This is a well-rounded fighter that came from Paraguay at 12, started in Taekwondo. His father is a master, moved to Canada, started his MMA and martial arts journey there. He gets better each and every time he steps in the cage. He's very, very squirrely on the ground. He makes great transitions. He's got good submissions. His striking is long. He's rangy. He just gets better every time we see him out there. This guy is going to be tough to deal with, and he's riding high with confidence. He feels like he knows he gets better every time he goes out there.
All right, those are the matchups in our lightweight semifinals. And then we talk about the light heavyweights. My favorite weight class for obvious reasons. Randy's impartial to this one for obvious reasons. And look, this is the same building I won my season 1 championship in. I think about it, I'm like, man, I'm getting a little misty, getting a little nostalgic. Maybe I'd like to step back in there and do it again. And then I see the guys who are in the light heavyweight semifinals, and I say, no, you know what, I'm good. I think it's better to be cage side for this kind of stuff. Let's talk about these fighters. And we'll start with the #1 seed, Robert Wilkinson, a converted middleweight who has looked incredible at 205.
And we've seen this time and time again in the PFL. These guys quit cutting so much weight, they go up and they start having some genuine success. Here's a guy that's had 2 victories in the regular season, a first-round stoppage and a second-round stoppage that puts him into the #1 seed. He's very well-rounded, he's long, he's rangy. He believes that long ranginess is definitely going to come into play here tonight against Delon Monte. He wants to throw everything straight and right down the pipe. We'll see if Delon Monte can stay with him, but he has been very, very impressive. Here's a guy, when everybody else was shut down, he went out and took some boxing matches just to stay sharp.
Robert Wilkinson looks like a totally different fighter at 205, and he's going to have to bring that level of skill and intensity into the smart cage tomorrow night, because Delon Monte, no doubt that this guy is bringing it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you have Wilkinson, who's more of a technician, and Delon Monte is a brawler. He likes to bring the fight to you. He gets right in your face, and he's looking to take you out with each and every shot. And Emiliano Sordi, the former champion, found that out. Monte able to move forward, walk him down. He's got a lot of confidence in that right hand and left hand for good reason. He's got some serious power, and he's going to try to use it against Wilkinson.
All right, so the other half of the light heavyweight bracket is very interesting for a lot of reasons, but Amari Akhmadov punches his ticket, he makes his spot in the playoffs known, and he feels pretty good about things. Then he finds out, I'm going to be fighting a teammate. That teammate was supposed to be Antonio Carlos Jr., the season 3 champion, shoeface. He gained the necessary points, he qualified for the playoffs. Unfortunately got injured, had to have surgery, so Amari Akhmadov maybe breathes a temporary sigh of relief, says, I don't have to fight a teammate. Sorry, Amari, you still do. Josh Silvera was effectively the #5 who slides into that playoff spot, so it's still ATT teammate versus ATT teammate. Let's start with Amari Akhmadov. We talked about it with Robert Wilkinson. Sometimes when guys go up a weight class, especially as they're into their 30s, it just works out better. That has been the case for Amari Akhmadov.
Yeah, that's right. And Amari, as you mentioned, you know, he would prefer to punch someone in the face who was not his teammate. But here he is in this situation. He's been very businesslike, very humble in his approach. But my goodness, this guy has been an absolute killer all season, finishing guys left and right. And this is another guy who has come up from 185 pounds, and speed and accuracy has been the difference. He knocked out his first opponent in what I thought was the most devastating knockout of the season, and then he submitted his second opponent, Australis, with a great submission.
So his opponent for the semifinal, as we mentioned many times, is a teammate. It's Josh Silvera. Not just a teammate, he's the coach's son. Conan Silvera, coach at American Top Team. His son, Josh, is really stepping up his level of competition this year. We saw him on the Challenger Series. We saw him with a huge knockout victory to earn the necessary points to find himself in this spot. And goodness gracious, it sets up a wild matchup between these two.
Yeah, Josh Silvera has literally grown up in the gym. His father was on my first title card back in 1997. That's how long. And I think this is harder on the coaches, you know, seeing this young kid that they've seen in the gym grow up and now have to fight him. So going to be very interesting. Very well-rounded, great striking selections, sets traps and pulls the trigger. There's a trap he set for Martin Hamlin right there. This guy's great on the ground. He's more of a wrestler and submission guy, but his striking is very formidable. He's going to be tough for anybody to deal with.
So you know what the stakes are in the playoffs, right? You win in the semifinal, you advance to a championship bout. At the end of that championship bout, if your hand is raised, you get the belt, you get a $1 million check. It's a great feeling as a fighter. We know that those guys are going to come in with their very best. But that's not all that is at stake tomorrow night, because 4 fights, let's face it, not enough to fill out a whole card. We've got qualifiers. Here's how our qualifier bouts work. For the 2023 PFL season, we need some more bodies. Winners in our qualifier bouts will earn spots on the roster, and each division has just those 10 roster spots. Of course, you earn the contract, you become a qualifier, you're now 4 wins away from the PFL World title and $1 million. So the action will start at 6 p.m. tomorrow night on ESPN Plus. At light heavyweight, a qualifier between Corey Hendricks and Martin Hamlet. Hamlet is the favorite in that bout. And at heavyweight, Marcelo Nunes and Dylan Potter squaring off for a guaranteed spot in the 2023 regular season. Those are our early qualifiers. And you know what? After our main card, we're going to go back to ESPN Plus. We're going to do a late card, a little nightcap for you with some showcase bouts and some qualifiers. Alexei Pergandi and Elvis Lebronquiles. Brian Zorcher, we saw him in the Challenger Series. He's a big-time favorite over Ricardo Jimenez, Elven Espinoza. It was a year ago that we last saw him. He's still undefeated and a big favorite against Corey Jackson. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of these qualifier and showcase bouts. I already mentioned his name, Brian Zorcher, Mexican fighter he looked great in the Challenger Series. He was kind of disappointed that he didn't get the invitation for Season 4. He thinks he can earn one for Season 5.
Yeah, Brian Zorcher is another one of these Mexican fighters that is so tough, has that never say die attitude, and he was tremendous. He went against a very skilled opponent in the Challenger Series, and he found a way to battle back, and a lot of that happened because he was able to take the back just like that. Trains with one of the best teams in the world over in Las Vegas at Extreme Couture. So he's riding high on confidence. He's been inspired by a lot of his friends and excellent fighters like Brandon Moreno and Yair Rodriguez, and wants to inspire a new generation of Mexican mixed martial artists as well.
Yeah, little upstart shop that he's training at, like you mentioned. It's a quaint little gym down there in Vegas. Some guy founded it. I don't know who he is. But if you're talking about great gyms, another one in South Florida plays host to Elven Espinoza, who's still undefeated, representing Nicaragua. This guy thinks that he has what it takes to compete in a PFL regular season.
Elven Espinoza went 6-2 in his amateur. He's 6-0 in his professional career. He fought a showcase bout last season. He's been waiting for a year for this opportunity. 6 months ago, he transferred to Sanford. Here's a beautiful takedown, body lock takedown by Espinoza. Well-rounded fighter. He feels like he's tested himself at Sanford against some of the best guys in the sport. He's ready to take full advantage of this opportunity with the PFL. Ready to rock and roll. He feels like he's got what it takes.
All right, so just to review, we're going to start the night on ESPN Plus with some qualifier bouts. Then on ESPN and simulcast on ESPN Plus, we have our PFL lightweight and light heavyweight semifinals as they try to earn spots in a $1 million championship bout. And then the nightcap goes back to ESPN Plus with 4 more bouts, showcase and qualifier opportunities in several different weight classes. Without further ado, let's start these weigh-ins, and our first bout tomorrow night will take place at 205. Corey Hendricks and Martin Hamlet. Lillian Garcia, let's get it started.
Well, thank you, Sean, and good evening, everyone. Can you feel the excitement in the air? That's because tomorrow night, it is the official kickoff to the 2022 PFL playoffs. And what better place to start than New York City? It all takes place 6 p.m. Eastern Time, starting on ESPN Plus. And now, to kick off the official weigh-in show, please welcome the president of Fighter Operations, Mr. Ray Seppo. In the blue corner, fighting out of Tønsberg, Norway, here is Martin Hamlet. His official weight, 206 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, Corey Hendricks. His official weight, 204.5 pounds.
Our second qualifier bout of the evening will take place at heavyweight, Marcelo Nunes and Dylan Potter.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Yelm, Washington, Dylan Potter. His official weight, 255 1/4 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, Marcelo Nunes. His official weight, 244 1/4 pounds.
Up next on the scale for a featherweight affair, Brian Zorcher, Ricardo Jimenez.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Bronx, New York, Ricardo Jimenez. His official weight, 144 1/4 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Jaretadera, Mexico, Brian Zorcher. His official weight, 146 pounds.
More qualifier action at lightweight, Elven Espinoza, Corey Jackson.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Atlanta, Georgia, Corey Jackson. His official weight, 156 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Miami, Florida, Elven Espinoza. His official weight, 154 1/2 pounds.
Next up, welterweight showcase bout, Lucas Barbosa, Elmar Umara.
In the blue corner, fighting out of St. Louis, Missouri, by way of Turkey, Elmar Umara. His official weight, 171 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Eugene, Oregon, by way of Brazil, Lucas Barbosa. His official weight, 169 1/2 pounds.
Lightweight showcase bout featuring Alexei Pergande and Elvis Lebronquiles.
In the blue corner, fighting out of San Sebastian, Puerto Rico, Elvis Lebronquiles. His official weight, 155 3/4 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Nashville, Tennessee, Alexei Pergande. His official weight, 155 3/4 pounds.
Up next on the scale, a showcase feature at 170 pounds, Mahmoud Sebi, Itzo Babulaite.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Tusheti, Georgia, Itzo Babulaite. His official weight, 170 3/4 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Miami, Florida, Mahmoud Sebi. His official weight, 170 3/4 pounds.
All right, all the qualifier and showcase bouts in the books, and that means we get to the playoff action. Robert Wilkinson, Delon Monte. Lillian, to you.
That's right. These next bouts are the official 2022 PFL playoff bouts that will take place between 7 and 9 p.m., both simulcast on ESPN and ESPN+. Now let's head over to the blue corner. Fighting out of Curitiba, Brazil, here is the number 4 seed, Delon Monte. His official weight, 205 1/4 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Hobart, Tasmania, here is your number 1 seed, Robert Wilkinson. His official weight, 205 3/4 pounds.
All right, we take a look at our tail of the tape for this light heavyweight semifinal. Rob Wilkinson is slightly older. He's 3 inches taller, weighed in a pound heavier. Pretty significant reach advantage in the arms for Robert Wilkinson and a 3-inch advantage on the legs as well. All right, Sean O'Connell and Kenny Florian and Randy Couture once again beside the PFL Smart Cage. Real quick, Kenny, Delon Monte, his first bout in the regular season didn't go his way. He said, I promise you, all it takes is one. And guess what? He delivered on that promise in his second bout, taking out a former PFL champion in Emiliano Sor.
That's right, and he did it in round one. I mean, this guy's high on confidence. It doesn't matter. And again, in talking to him, you can see the intensity in his eyes and everything that he talks about. He is ready to rock, and he's ready to die in a shield. That's a dangerous guy to deal with, a guy who's willing to get hit just to hit you with one big shot. He has a lot of belief in his power.
And you know, it's not always going to be pretty when Delon Monte is in there. That's sometimes tough to deal with when you're a guy who's as technical as Robert Wilkinson. So we'll see what Delon Monte has in store. Let's talk about Robert Wilkinson, though. This is a guy who, as you talked about earlier, moved up from the middleweight division. I don't know how he ever made middleweight. At 6'3", yeah, he's a big guy. But look, he made it there. It wasn't the best thing for him. He comes to the PFL as a light heavyweight, and he gets 2 finishes. And the #1 seed, is he on his way to a championship?
Man, it sure looks like it. He's composed. He's diligent, he's smart, he figures out where he needs to be. He knows range is going to be a big factor. He doesn't want to step in against Delon Monte and get into a nose-to-nose slugfest. He's going to use his footwork, use those long levers, and try and pick him apart.
Brett Akhmadov is here, and he's actually standing by with Robert Wilkinson right now. Brett, to you.
Yes, I am, Sean, the #1 seed at 205 pounds. And Rob, it's kind of felt like a perfect year for you up to this point. Do you carry that momentum into the playoffs, or is it clean slate from here on out?
I mean, I carry the momentum, but, you know, my focus is on the world title. So, you know, I've got 2 more fights to get there. 100% focused on this fight. You know, I'm not happy with just being the #1 seed and, you know, going out in the playoffs. So.
Absolutely. And you got a fun fight in front of you, Delon Monte. Even you guys just kind of talking to each other right there. I mean, this guy, technically, I think a lot of us would say you have the advantage. But what do you see in him and his power, and how do you make sure that he doesn't land that on tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting fight. You know, he's got all his wins by finish. I've got just about all my wins by finish. He comes out real aggressive, so I think it's going to be fun. But, yeah, I think I'm going to get over him.
Well, the stare down was fun, so I can't imagine what the fight's going to be like. I'm looking forward to it, man. Thank you so much. Best of luck. Sean, back to you.
All right, thank you, Brett. And a great point, by the way, by Robert Wilkinson there. The light heavyweight's the highest finish percentage in the PFL, so a PFL semifinal with 2 finishers should deliver. Now we move the action to the lightweight division. Olivia, Alba, Messier, Alexander Martinez.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Grand Prairie, Alberta, Canada, by way of Paraguay, here is your #3 seed, Alexander Martinez. His official weight, 156 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, here is your #2 seed, Olivia Messier. His official weight, 155 pounds.
Kenny, as much as I joke about lightweights being the little guys, those are some big lightweights. And here's our tail of the tape. Olivia Alba Messier is 5 years older than the 28-year-old Alexander Martinez, who is 2 inches taller. Alexander Martinez weighed in a pound heavier. He's got a 2-inch reach advantage on the arms, but the leg reach actually favors OAM. All right, we've talked about the cerebral nature of this fight. Both of these guys very technically sound, both of them very intelligent with their game planning. They also have trained together a little bit, so they might bring that technical and tactical advantage. Who plays chess better?
Yeah.
You've talked about it all the time, Randy. This is kinetic chess, and we might have 2 of the best chess players in there.
Yeah, it's so rare to have a guy tell you in a fighter meeting exactly what he needs to do to win a fight. But then to see him go out there in that cage under pressure and execute that is very, very impressive. And both these guys have done that. It makes for a very interesting fight. Martinez is savoring the fact that nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows what he's capable of. He likes that, and he believes he has what it takes to go out there and show everybody exactly what he's capable of.
It's actually interesting because I think he likes the advantage of people not knowing as much about him, but I also think he's starting to feel like, hey, who do I have to beat to prove myself? Because Alexander Martinez has been a tough out for anybody, and he beat Natan Schultz, a former champion. He beat Clay Collard, who a lot of people thought would be a front runner in this season, pulled off the upset there. You know what? Alexander Martinez is standing by with Brett Akhmadov. Brett, to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. And Alex, you mentioned at the fighter meeting that you noticed that you were an underdog, and at first you were a little bit, disgruntled by it. Like, why am I always the underdog? What do you feel like an underdog going into this fight against OAM?
No, not really, to be honest. I mean, like, that's something that the fans and the whole promotion, like everybody's betting, like, create, right? So, but to be honest, I feel like I am where I belong.
I feel like the way that a lot of people are looking at this fight is that you two are very smart, very well-rounded. It could come down to the details. Is that how you look at it? How important are details, and how do you make sure that you take care of those details on fight night?
I 100% agree. I think details are 100% what's going on in this fight, and also a little bit of the grit too. I think it's whoever can push a little more with the grit is another big part for this fight. And the details are all taken care of in the gym. If they're not taken care of by now, then it's kind of too late. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It looks like one of those fights that could come down to whoever wants it last, and those are some of the most fun ones to watch. Looking forward to it, Alex. Thank you very much. Sean, back to you.
All right, thanks, Brett. Look, Alexander Martinez, he's still a young guy, right? This is just only last year that he really stepped up onto the big stage in mixed martial arts, but he's got every tool necessary to win a championship. However, standing in his way is a guy who has the same kind of toolbox, maybe even a little bit more developed because he's further into his career. Olivia, Alba, and Messier has trained at one of the best gyms in the world for a very long time. And goodness gracious, this guy is a massive lightweight. We've seen him at welterweight before, but he's a huge lightweight.
Yeah, he certainly is, and has a ton of experience as well. He's trained with some of the best fighters in the world. He's competed against some of the best fighters in the world. And he also has a skill set where he has a lot of variety, and it can approach a lot of different fights in a lot of different ways. Has his hands full with Martinez, but I think it's going to be a fantastic fight.
So how is OAM approaching this fight? Well, he's standing by with Brett Akhmadov, and he'll tell you himself. Brett?
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Olivia, you said last year that you would be standing here for the playoffs in 2022. Well, here you are. How does it feel to be going into a fight against a guy that you're very familiar with?
Yeah, I don't remember that, but yeah, I guess I'm here. Yeah, I feel good. Feel good to be here. I mean, like I knew I was supposed to be there last year, but things happen, and now I'm here, and I'm ready to go. You know.
And in the fighter meeting, you told us that I think the biggest thing that you need to keep an eye on here in this fight is you can't underestimate the guy. Why is that a potential pitfall for you, and how do you make sure that you don't do that tomorrow night?
Maybe not the night of the fight, but during my training camp, that's for sure. But I won't underestimate Alex. I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. And it's just that this happened to me before, and I know now. So I have experience. I'm not the young kid I was before. And it won't happen. It just won't happen. Tomorrow, like, I'm going to be there 100%, and I hope Alex is going to be there too.
Yep. It's a big fight, one of the best divisions in this entire promotion. Looking forward to it very much, Olivia. Thank you, and good luck. Sean, back to you.
Thank you. Promises to be a really exciting fight at 155. Co-main event will take place in the light heavyweight division. Amari Akhmadov and Josh Silvera.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, here is your number 5 seed, Josh Silvera. His official weight, 206 pounds. In the red corner, also fighting from Coconut Creek, Florida, here is your number 2 seed, Amari Akhmadov. His official weight, 204.5 pounds.
see the smiles and the sportsmanship. That's because these guys are teammates down at American Top Team. Here is our tale of the tape. Amari Akhmadov, of course, the older fighter at 34 years of age. To Josh Silvera's 29. Silvera is listed as 1 inch taller. He's also a pound heavier. He has a reach advantage in the arms and the legs. The experience advantage goes to Amari Akhmadov, of course, who's been around this game for a very long time. Josh Silvera still undefeated as a fighter. But Randy, this is a totally different test, not only because of Amari Akhmadov's skill, but because you're fighting a teammate, not just any teammate, a teammate that you helped get ready for several high-level bouts. It's not like these guys are just in the same building. They do camps together. Now they have to fight each other. What does that mean for Josh Silvera?
Man, these guys know each other as well as anybody knows them. So sometimes that can make it very, very difficult technically to fight each other. They both have taken this with a grain of salt. They know it's all business. I love his mullet, you know, party in the back, all business up front. He says it's going to be all business tomorrow night. And then he'll give him a big hug and a kiss on the head after it's all done. But he's coming out there well-rounded, great wrestling. He knows he's improved his striking a lot, and we'll see how it shakes out tomorrow night.
All right, we send it over to Brett Okamoto, who's got Josh Silvera.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. And Josh, you've done a lot of stare downs over the course of your career. I don't know if any of them have finished with a hug, and you guys are out there smiling and laughing for the cameras. What is this like as it gets closer, fighting a guy that not only that you know very well, but you really like?
Yeah. Man, this is just, it's all business. Obviously, we're having some fun up there. I know the guy personally. Even if you asked me to be mean to him, I just couldn't, you know. So I used Ray as a little dramatic effect to get in his face. But me and Amari, man, we're good friends. He's my brother. And we're gonna have a good time tomorrow night.
You can't be mean to him. Hopefully you can go out and throw punches at him when the time comes. Have you thought about what this means for, I mean, you're a guy who's grown up in the gym. We all know this story. Been waiting for this moment a whole long time. What would it mean to you and to the upstart of your career to win a championship in your first year at PFL tournament?
Man, it means a lot, you know. It's just a little piece of my journey that I've been working hard for, you know, being a PFL champion, winning $1 million, possibly being like a star for the organization or something like that. I'm looking forward to things like that, you know, opening doors. This is just a little bit of the beginning that we're getting started with.
You've been writing a good story, man. Looking forward to the rest of it. I appreciate the time, Josh, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Sean, back to you guys.
All right, thank you. And look, not only do you have to split up your training camp when a guy that is in your gym is your opponent, you got to split up the coaches, right? And for Josh Silvera, he's got his dad, Kona Silvera, that gets to be in his corner. Amari Akhmadov obviously has a ton of great teammates. They literally just walk around the corner, train on the same mats just behind a wall at American Top Team. The dynamics are not dissimilar for Amari Akhmadov, but he does have more experience.
That's right. He does have a lot of experience, but, you know, there's a lot of mental hurdles for him to overcome. You know, not only is he fighting a teammate, he's fighting one of the coach's son, the guy that he's worked with a lot. You know, it's kind of split the team a little bit, you know, just for now, not in a bad way. And he's also dealing with a younger, hungrier fighter in a lot of ways, right? I mean, you look at an undefeated fighter like Josh Silvera, he hasn't achieved what Akhmadov has, but he's hungry to do that. So I think there's a lot mentally going on in this fight, despite that experience advantage for Akhmadov.
Well, we'll get a little bit of his Amari Akhmadov's mentality from Brett Okamoto, who's standing by.
Thank you very much, Sean. Omari, Josh told us when he beats you in this fight, he's going to bend you over and give you a kiss on the top of the head. That's how he's going to celebrate. How are you going to celebrate if you beat your buddy, Josh, on Friday?
Josh сказал, что если он победит, он с вами наклонится, вас поцелует, обнимет, как бы. А если вы победите, как вы будете отмечать свою победу?
Same situation, bro. Same situation. I think so. Somebody was good.
That will be exactly the same. We are friends.
So either way, we're seeing this kiss on the top of the forehead. What do you think this fight is going to come down to? You guys are both familiar with one another. At the end of the day, what is going to be the singular most important thing deciding which way this fight goes?
Вы друг друга знаете. Как вы думаете, что решающим будет в этом бою? Что больше всего повлияет на исход?
Не знаю, наверное, кардио.
I think the cardio might be a big factor here.
Makes sense. Two guys who know each other well. Fight's going to go long. Who's got the bigger gas tank? Okay. Well, we're looking forward to it very much, Amari. Thank you so much for the time. Sean, we'll throw it back to you.
All right, so a little conditioning test potentially in our co-main event. And that brings us to this highly anticipated rematch. Anthony Shotonpetis, Stevie Ray.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Kirkcaldy 5, Scotland, here is your number 4 seed, Stevie Ray. His official weight, 155 3/4 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the #1 seed, Anthony Showtime Pettis. His official weight, 155 1/2 pounds.
Here's our tail of the tape for the main event. Stevie Ray, victor in the first matchup, is 3 years younger. Both men 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighed in at the lightweight limit. The reach advantage in the arms goes to Anthony Pettis. Their legs are identical. I cannot wait for this fight. First round was incredible back and forth in their last meeting. And then Anthony Pettis took the fight to the ground, and Stevie Ray with the Scottish Twister. That's what I'm calling it, whether you like it or not. With the Scottish Twister finishes Anthony Pettis. Can he do it again?
I like the name, by the way. Listen, you know, when you're fighting someone like an Anthony Pettis, a legendary fighter, a guy who's been on a Wheaties box, a guy who has been a UFC world champion, you wonder, am I at that level? Can I do it? So Stevie Ray, knowing that he can do it, knowing that he can get the finish, and he did it with just one mistake, is going to be a huge confidence builder for him. He looks absolutely massive, looks like he's in tremendous shape, looks ready to go.
And he's standing by with Brett Okamoto. Brett?
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Well, here we are, Stevie Ray, Anthony Pettis. It's like deja vu of just 6 weeks ago. Is this something that you relish? Do you like the opportunity to beat the big name guy on your way to winning $1 million, or is the $1 million so important it could be anybody out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it works out best for me. It means I get a chance to build my profile on the way to the $1 million. So it's probably worked out the best for me, fighting Pettis twice. Get 2 wins over him, some good exposure, and then, like you said, to the $1 million. Yeah.
Stevie, he has said that, you know, because of the circumstances and because he didn't really need to win in the first fight, that it wasn't completely him out there. Are you expecting a different guy out there, or are you expecting the same guy that you saw 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to say that to, you know, make himself feel better, but once you're in that cage, you're trying to win. You're trying to, you know, finish the guy. Doesn't matter, I don't think, the circumstances, but I'm prepared for, you know, the best Anthony Pettis. So I beat him 6 weeks ago, and tomorrow night I'll beat him again.
Well, it's fun to see you in this position, especially over some of the things that happened earlier in your career. Here you are, getting ready to fight Anthony Pettis for a second time in PFL semifinals, man. Congratulations on making there, and looking forward to the fight. Sean, back to you guys.
All right, and of course that sets the stage for Anthony Showtime Pettis. Randy, this is where the PFL format gets really interesting, right? Because any fighter that you talk to coming off a loss, what do they want? They want an opportunity to get it back, to get back in the win column. And a lot of times they want to fight that guy and they want to get the win back from that guy. It rarely happens that way, but we have that set up tomorrow night. So for Anthony Showtime Pettis, knowing what happened in the last bout, telling us that his mentality has shifted, because this absolutely is a fight that he has to win if he wants an opportunity for that $1 million championship. Do we see the same thing? Do we see a redemption from Anthony Pettis? What do you expect?
Well, I think he clearly won that first round with his striking and the things we're used to seeing from Anthony Pettis. In my opinion, the onus is always on the guy that won the first fight, because what's Anthony Pettis going to change in the rematch to get a different outcome? That's frankly, a wild guess for Stevie Ray to figure out what that might be. These guys are going to let it hang out there. This is why this is the main event. They're going to get after it. I think we're going to see the Showtime Anthony Pettis that we're used to seeing.
Do you get Showtime, the real Showtime, tomorrow night? Let's find out with Brett. Brett?
Thank you, Sean. And Showtime Pettis, man, I've talked to you a lot over the course of your career. Where does this rank, man? I mean, how do you feel going into this one? You said after the 2021 season, you really wanted to make amends for 2022. #1 seed, chance to avenge a loss. How you feeling going into it?
Feeling great, man. This is it, bro. I love when the pressure's on. You know, you win or go home. I'm about to just leave it all out there.
You know, how's your confidence level? Because technically you did lose to this guy, but you've said that really wasn't me out there. How was the confidence level going in compared to some of the other ones?
I mean, it definitely was me. He caught me in a good submission. Not going to take nothing away from that. But my game plan wasn't how it is this time. You know, I was like, it's kind of a gimme fight. You know, I already had this guaranteed spot. I was like, let's not get hurt. Let's play it smart. And that's, you know, he got a good submission.
After being in there with him for 1.5 rounds, do you feel like you have an idea of how this fight's going to go? Like, is that still fresh in your head? And do you have sort of envisioned the way that this fight is going to play out?
Yeah, most definitely. I think the last fight, I initiated the sequence that led to that submission. You know, he couldn't take me down. I was stopping all his takedowns. I reversed him on the cage. We're going to see a lot smarter fight. I'm going to take it patiently and just be smart.
I love it, man. It's two guys who are in the same fight but have different perspectives of it. Let's find out what the real one was on Friday. Can't wait for it. Sean, back to you.
That is a tasty, juicy New York City main event. I cannot wait for the rematch between Anthony Pettis and Stevie Ray. The action begins at 6 p.m. Eastern with a couple qualifier bouts from the Big Apple, a light heavyweight and a heavyweight affair. Then our main card, 7 Eastern, simulcast on ESPN and on ESPN+. And then we've got our nightcap that'll take place with some showcases and some qualifiers after the fact, once again, on ESPN Plus exclusively. Lightweights vying for a spot in the championship. Light heavyweights vying for a spot in the championship. 155-pound matchups, 205-pound matchups, and most importantly, the dream stays alive for only 2 finalists in each weight class. Join us tomorrow at Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden.